How are you feeling about the whole Alexander Isak saga? Are you exhausted yet? I am. Newcastle have been trying everything they can do to convince him to stay, to make amends and reintegrate him back into the club. We're going to talk about how that's played out. Would they be willing to actually hold him and let him rot on the bench, as many have called for, especially Geordie fans? I'm Lawrence on Liverpool, a brand new fan channel. Very quickly, I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Help me get there. Despite Newcastle's attempts, Alexander Isak has rejected the Newcastle olive branch. After spending most of his summer on strike, refusing any of Eddie Howe's reaches out for a hug, he's been wonderful. Eddie Howe's been wonderful in this. I think he's dealt with this in the best way possible. Always saying, look, I'd love to have him back. I don't hold any grudges. If you want to come back into the fold, Isak, you're absolutely welcome. He's done everything he can. But on Monday afternoon, just hours before Liverpool and Newcastle were about to play, Jamie Rubin, a minority owner, and Saudi Arabia's public investment fund visited Isak. They went over there and said, look, please, let's make amends. And Isak said, nope. It is understood the forwarders offered a lucrative pay rise in exchange for a willingness to stay for at least one more season. So let's talk about this, actually. This is quite important. Apparently, there were two promises that were made to Isak. Get into the Champions League, and we'll either give you a massive bumper pay, or we will sell you to a bigger club. Now, he feels the promises were broken because they didn't give him a massive bumper pay. And when Liverpool came calling, and he thought, that's it, I'm going to Liverpool, Newcastle whacked on a 150 million price tag, which is off-putting to pretty much everyone in the world, including Liverpool, even though Liverpool are paying like crazy this summer. But they also said, we can't sell Isak unless we bring in two strikers because we've also lost Callum Wilson. So those restrictions, Isak felt was a breaking of the promise to him. And so many people, and myself included, wondered whether it could be about money. But if Isak is turning down a bumper pay now, based on his morals, because he said, Newcastle, you've lied to me, you've ruined the relationship, you've broken your promises, I'm out. I cannot work with a club that I don't trust anymore. And then they come and say, all right, we'll give you tons of money. And he still says, no, the money's not it. I don't want to be with you because you've broken my trust. That changes the complexion of a narrative for me. You know, and there was that post that Isak said when he finally said something in his own words. And he said, narratives have been spun of not being real. That changes how the narrative feels for me, and I can relate a lot more to that. Let me know if you can too in the comments. And for Eddie Howe, he would just love to know what's happening because time's running out. 6 days left. They need to have two strikers. They're trying to bring in Wissa. Brentford won't sell him. They're trying to bring in Strand Larsen. Wolves won't sell him. Other strikers they've gone for have gone to other clubs. They've turned Newcastle down. But it's a Liverpool channel and we're talking about Liverpool futures. And one of them could involve getting Alexander Isak if we're willing to pay a certain amount of money and Newcastle can find some replacements in time. 6 days and ticking. 150 million is a lot. Will Liverpool go there? 130 million is the natural conclusion to reach since Liverpool went in at 110. It's bang in the middle. Can they come to a compromise? The Times, Martin Hardy and Paul Joyce have provided an update this week saying a package worth 130 million, so it could be like 110 million plus add-ons, could be enough to reach an agreement. There are, however, considerable doubts over whether Liverpool will be willing to go as high as 130 million, particularly given there is a clear commitment from Isak. And so this is part of the game's playing, right? Because with Isak having disrupted his relationship with Newcastle so much, refusing to play, being on complete strike, and saying, I will never play for Newcastle ever again. So you keep me, I'm not playing for you. If you force me to stay, I'm still not playing for you. Liverpool will feel they hold all the cards. Why should we have to pay too much when we know Newcastle will have to let him go? Because they're a business. Whilst a lot of fans let him rot on the bench, stick him in reserve with the kids, Newcastle as a club surely won't be doing that because that's cutting off their nose to spite their face. That doesn't make sense as a business when you could be getting in 110 or more £1 million, which you could use to reinvest back into the club. And then we'll finish off with just confirmation that Wolves rejected a 55 million bid for Strand Larsen. So they turned down 50 million. They turned down 55 million. Is 60 million the sweet spot? We'll probably find out this week because Newcastle are absolutely desperate. They really desperately have to bring in 2 strikers, really. All right, thanks for watching. Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'll read them all and reply to them. And the goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. If you're still watching, I really appreciate you to give me a subscribe, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.